Hello, welcome back. It is I, Anthony Mueller, the wine advocate reviewer for South Africa and Washington states. It is 1 p.m. California time. Today we've got a really amazing story to speak. Here she is. We have Berene Sauls of Tesselaarsdal Wines. Let's see if we can get her to connect. We are connecting. There she is.
Good evening
Hello.
or good day. Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm just turn up the volume a touch. Awesome. Welcome. So thank you so much for joining me. I know it's late in South Africa, so thank you so much. Plus, on top of that, there's been a lot of happenings in South Africa lately.
Yes.
For those who have been following along with the IGTVs that I've been covering, they know that South Africa had a bit of, once they went into quarantine, all of the alcohol sales stopped, production stopped, exports stopped. That was overturned for
Yes.
about a month or so ago. That was overturned. Everyone was allowed to buy alcohol, and now there's another prohibition. In fact, alcohol sales have stopped. That's pretty tough. So thank you so much for joining us. For those of our guests and our viewers who don't know who you are, can you please introduce yourself and give us a little background about yourself?
Yes. I am Berene Sauls, the owner of Tesselaarsdal Wines. I'm a small wine producer, producing a Pinot Noir and a Chardonnay from grapes from the Yamlin Aarde Ridge, which is in the Walker Bay region of Hermanus, Western Cape. And Tesselaarsdal is a business that was born in 2014, as I am a long-standing employee of Hamilton Russell Vineyards.
Fantastic. So you come with a really amazing story. I've got a lot of questions. Your property. Let's start there. It dates back to the late 1700s. Can you tell us what it was like growing up in your area and what it means to be where you are now, making basically being a young entrepreneur, making some really amazing wines and owning a wine brand?
Yes. So Tesselaarsdal, it is property that was left to freed slaves by Johannes Tesselaar in 1810. So I'm a descendant of those slaves, and my parents still live there. So everyone just owned a piece of land, and everyone just made like a poor farm living. So growing up, I know Tesselaarsdal, the village, as a hard-working community, just living mouth to mouth, trading with nearby towns in Stanford. I know my grandmother used to trade. She used to farm with goats, livestock. So she and my mother would walk over the mountain, which is the Klein River Mountains in Tesselaarsdal, to Stanford, which is also today a winemaking area. And they would trade their goats for sugar, oil, fruit, stuff like that. And I just remember donkey carts being the means of transport while I was growing up. So there was just a lot of this old farm living happening, a lot of nature walks. Tesselaarsdal is a water scarce area, so we used to go fetch water a lot from a place that we called the Stroompie. Everyone just washed their clothes there and just went and fetched water there. So that was, it was a free living in Tesselaarsdal.
It's fantastic. So how did you get into wine?
So after I finished school, I started working at Hamilton Russell Vineyards in February 2001, actually as an au pair to Anthony Hamilton Russell's children.
Nice.
Yeah. So so after a month, I started in the office. We could say I'm the failed au pair maybe, but Anthony recognized my ambition. And I started in the office assisting marketing manager Estelita Engelbrecht. But there was this nagging question, as I come from a beer drinking community And from a non-wine background,
Yeah.
I actually was astounded that people paid so much for a bottle of wine, basically. So that was the nagging question. And, I asked, why do people pay so much for wine here? And Anthony suggested that I go in and see the process rather than him explaining it to me. He said, go ask the winemaker if you can assist him. Go ask the viticulturist that time if you can assist. But it was March already, so I was a month too late for the harvest. So I immediately started with the wine admin and certification at the cellar, doing the books and pin cards, and just overall doing physical work. I trained myself on the forklift. So I started operating the forklift and assisted with the bottling, moved on to the labeling and packaging. I got a team of 6 ladies to assist me with that. And I also trained a lot of ladies up now to go further. That all happened in a year. I moved into the export logistics, into the tasting room for about 3 months. I did crash courses through the Cape Wine Academy. And I started to develop a palate that wasn't there by going through to Stellenbosch twice a week. I drove after work for tastings. They did a lot of tastings that time at the Stellenbosch University and at, the Nederburg auction tastings. That there was a lot of them. So I wanted to prep myself for the coming harvest so that I don't look completely like an idiot and that I know what's happening. Yeah, so when the harvest came in 2002, I was prepped. I was good to go. So I basically worked every department of the wine industry or the business, which is Hamilton Russell Vineyards that time. And I think it took about, Anthony, I think it took about 3 years for me to be confident in what I'm tasting and my palate. And my crash course into wine, I fondly now talk about this, but it's actually Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. So I really got a good wine lesson coming to work at Hamilton Russell Vineyards and getting to know Pinot Noir and Chardonnay like I do, and the history behind it, and how, Tim Hamilton Russell pioneered Pinot Noir and Chardonnay here. And it just gave me an in-depth understanding of the wine industry and the wine as a business, where when I grew up, I thought of farming and agriculture as a poor living. Yeah, as poor living, and drinking as a measure of oppressive drinking,
Yeah.
So that was an eye-opener. And in 2003, I got nominated via Warsaw to attend the International Wine and Spirits Fair. And that was the awe moment because, we did taste foreign wines regularly on Hamilton Russell Vineyards, but for me to see it was the game changer for me. And I really thought, wow, there's so many producers. That was the thing that's to me, there's so many producers. So if you do wine, you have to be good at it.
Yeah.
So so that's what happened in 2014 after all of this.
Yeah. So on your travels then, was there a place that just struck you as like, this is amazing? Like you had an aha moment overseas in anywhere?
Yes. So the aha moment was then, but there's little that I can remember of it, and I think it is because of shock. It was my first, it was my first international trip. So the huge area where that tastings took place. I mean, it was incredible. That was really the moment where I thought, goodness, there's so many wine producers. Who knows what to pick, what company is successful, what makes you into this wine industry. And that was something that I came to learn and wanted to learn more of when I returned to South Africa. I was fortunate enough to travel last year on my first trade trip for Tesselaarsdal wines to the UK,
Nice.
to my importer Swig there. And that was amazing. Yeah. Exhausting, but amazing.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's that's one aspect I think of 2020 that a lot of people in the wine industry have kind of been slightly missing. Some of us are glad that we don't have to travel as much. It's kind of nice to have like a reset at home, but the travel, being able to see people and talk to people and breathe a different air and just experience different culture. Yeah.
For a
It's
small boutique wine producer like myself, I missed the opportunity to go to Provine
yeah,
in March. So I was set to go there and had appointments set up and everything. So that was quite an imperative part of my business.
yeah,
Um, yes,
for sure. It will hopefully happen next year. Yeah,
yes,
it's been crazy. That one thing that's struck me. I'm a night owl by nature. That's just who I am and what I do. And it was about midnight, 1 a.m. this morning, and I was hearing rustling in the back, and then I heard rustling in the front. And I was like, "What's going on?" So I went out in the back, and there was a family of possums on the fence, trying to kind of move around the garden. I was like, "No, you have to go. This is my garden. Sorry."
yeah,
And in the
yes,
front, there were two full-grown deer in the front walking by. And I live in Napa is somewhat of a rural area, but I live in the urban area of
yes.
Napa. And I've lived in my spot for 6 years, and I have yet to see live deer walking in my front yard. And it's weird how 2020, I feel like, wildlife is starting to kind of reclaim the
True.
city, and they're just coming back. They're curious. It's it's the world is kind of on a tremendous pause right now, and
Yes,
it's a great time um, to be in the wine business, because you can start making your plans and hedge what you want to do for 2021 and be as effective as possible. With that being said, do you have any foresight for your 2021 schedule, where you want to get out
yes.
there, and what do you have planned?
Yes, so definitely, from the marketing side of things, there is a few wine shows in South Africa, because Tesselaarsdal is yet in South Africa not really national. It
Mhm.
is like in the Western Cape and in Johannesburg, but I need to get to the other provinces.
For sure.
So for that, and then hopefully, if everything goes to plan, it is still Provine, and it is still about 2 trade trips. I wish to do one to the US,
Mm,
and then definitely in September the one to the UK.
awesome.
So yeah, if all my plans go accordingly, it will be that. Hard on marketing. I really want Tesselaarsdal to be, sold in small pockets, like all over, to be globally known ultimately.
Mhm.
I'm I'm a very young brand. I've done 6 vintages now, and it's time. It's
For
time to
sure.
be out there. On a development side, you know that I bought the property. It's virgin land. It's
Yeah.
bare land.
Unplanted.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The only thing that's there is like little bushes and trees that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm actively planning this. I think actually somewhat there's the beauty that was born out of the pandemic, because there's actually time to for proper planning, because I still
Yeah.
work a full day at Hamilton Russell Vineyards. I'm still fully employed, and then afterwards on Tesla's also. The planning is perfectly now. So yeah, I'm getting all my ducks in a row, sourcing funding to plant and develop. So that's what I'm busy with.
It's awesome. So I know you said that you were first an au pair for Anthony and Olive. How exactly did you connect with them in the first place? What was that story like?
Well, I was basically in their house. I was basically in their house, yeah. And they employed me. So the connection was when they interviewed me, basically. I could say it was a straight on connection. And I am a hard worker by heart. I'm very curious and I'm very ambitious. And in some ways, I was very militaristic, very. Yeah, I think Anthony recognized that ambition.
Yeah, it's working in 3 Michelin-starred restaurants. You have to have drive, and you have to have passion, and you have to do
Yes,
it gracefully and efficiently,
yeah,
and you have to multitask at extreme levels to be able to get
all the
everything
time,
right.
all the time.
So that makes a lot of sense from their standpoint. If they could recognize that in a person, yourself especially, and promote you. That's ultimately, I believe full-heartedly in that, giving people a chance, and that's ultimately why I'm here. Someone along the way gave me a chance at a job, and you keep getting better and better and better. They gave you a chance at being an au pair, gave you a chance at being like an office clerk, gave you a chance at running marketing. And now you have a brand that you're
now I'm
running.
Now I own a business, man. I'm a wine producer. Like what?
Exactly.
You started out, changing diapers, and then where along the way did you start do punch downs? So it's incredible, and I work closely together with winemaker Emil Ross.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
So my journey with Emil has just been a pleasure. Emil is very dedicated. He's very passionate about what he does. He's a very patient winemaker, and he in-depth explains like every step of the way of what we are doing with the wines, what is happening, and that has been amazing. I mean, when I launched, I knew completely what is happening in the wine. I knew exactly what we are doing, what is happening, and that is awesome. Every vintage is like that, and we work very closely together on Pinot Noir, Chardonnay. It doesn't matter, from go to pick the grapes to get it back to the cellar. So I can really say it's he mentors, he tutors, he teaches, and that's awesome.
So what has been some of the most prolific things you've learned from Emil Ross in having to create your brand moving forward?
The way the Tesselaarsdal wines is made, basically, and his ideas to it. And when I do the marketing or talk about my wines, it is purely from what I've seen and learned from Emil. And that has been the main focus, ultimately, is the wines. So the complete quality, the care taken when we go to pick the grapes, everything has basically shaped on what I know about my own wine.
That's awesome. I had a chance to meet with Emil and Talita last year, and tasted through the entire lineup of Hamilton Russell, Ashbourne, Southern Rights, and then tasted your brand with the big grand tasting the week before, and it was interesting tasting down in the cellar of Hamilton Russell. It has a lot of charm to it. Beautiful chandelier, big round table with candles and bottles. But it has that cellar smell to it. It has a distinct smell that you walk down, you're like, it smells like a cellar. It's wonderful.
Yes, must, yeah.
Talking with Emil, you can tell he's very passionate, very driven. But when I was there, I don't know if just the day, but he seemed very reserved and a little shy almost, and choosing his words. Is he typically like that?
Is this a trick question?
No.
Emil is very, very relaxed, and yes, there is a bit of shyness to him. But when he talks, it's usually you can sit and listen. When he talks, it's facts. So yeah.
For sure. Yeah, he seemed like a very nice guy. And
no, he is. I think he's one of a kind. He's one of a kind. Yeah. So awesome. ultimately, Emil would like to train my eldest son on this wine journey, so that eventually my son could, either be involved in the winemaking or, viticulture. He's 16 years old now. He can go study something, but hopefully it's in the business. Yeah.
That'd be great. That was actually going to be one of my questions coming up. Of do you hope for your brand to be a generational brand to basically pass down to generations? So that's very good to know that Emil is thinking about training your son. Does your son want to get into winemaking? Is that something that's high on his priority?
Yes, well, currently he does. I can't say what my son Darren will do when he's 18, and I
Yeah,
really can't force him. You know, it's good for children to have their own identity.
I
But
can.
I
Yeah,
always joke and say, you will.
yeah, for
I
sure.
always say, yeah, yeah, you know, I'm not, you know,
Yeah,
this is my legacy. This is
yeah,
us. Yeah,
yeah.
you will, and your brother will follow.
Family business, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like thinking back, because when you said that, I started thinking back. Like, when I was 16, what did my mother want me to do? She wanted me to be a weatherman. She's like, oh, you would be great
Is
on
it?
TV, telling about the weather. You love science, and uh, I took a meteorology course, and it was literally one of the most boringest things I've ever done. But it led me to understand what physics was, and I basically went down the physics path, and just was bit by the bug and loved physics, and was in the process of going into getting a degree with quantum physics. And I
Yeah.
learned all the calculus in the world. And one day I just was drinking some wine, working in a restaurant, and realized, this is something I could never have to retire from. And then you just get bit by the bug, and you said, I want to do this. I want to commit my life and devote my life to this.
To
And this
this.
is something I literally could do for the rest of my life, never retire from, work until the day I die. And I do it because I love it. Simple as that.
Can I tell you something now that you
Please.
mentioned that, you at 16 you want to be a weatherman?
No, I didn't want to.
Um,
My mom wanted to. My
your
mom wanted
mom
to. Yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah.
But actually, when I at the school where I was, so
Mhm.
we were just a colored community on the high school, but everyone, including myself, wanted to be in a uniform. It was
Yeah.
either a policeman or a defense officer or something.
Mhm.
And mind you, I actually went after school for a fight. I was going to be a defense force officer in the army. And quietly, I failed the IQ test.
Oh, oh no. It's not good.
Fortunately so.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it led you to the path you're on now. I believe everything happens for a reason, and it's always best to look at the bright side of things and be an optimist rather than a pessimist, because otherwise you're always looking down when you could always be looking up and saying, that's where I'm going. I'm going up.
Exactly. So the
Awesome.
optimist in me found the water on that property, which is a water scarce area,
Yeah.
because the first hole that we drilled was empty.
Yeah.
And I refused to let the guys go if they didn't drill a bit on another site. And yeah, here we are.
Awesome. So with your brands, and your property, you don't have any vines on your property quite yet.
No.
You've got sources for Chardonnay and Pinot Noir.
Yes.
Are, are do you know exactly what you want to plant on your property? You want to keep it still to Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, or are you thinking
Yes.
about adding in a few other varietals or cultivars?
No. So it's Pinot Noir Chardonnay, and it's going to be 1 hectare Pinot Noir, 1 hectare Chardonnay. Currently, because that's what the plan allows, the money allows, and everything that goes with it. And I would like to stick to Pinot Noir and Chardonnay because that was my crash wine. That was what I fell in love with. That was what I introduced to.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, no, I'm not looking to add any varietals, and that's not even in my 10-year plan. My plan now is just to get the Pinot Noir and Chardonnay grown in Tesselaarsdal. That's it.
Awesome. So, what do you expect there to be a slight variance in style or profile from your land to what you're currently producing?
Yes. So I think Tesselaarsdal, no wine has really come from that place area. But while drilling for water, we found it is just clay. Some limestone, but heavily clay soils. And the slope is right. It's northeast. It's wind protected and everything. But the temperature there is warmer. It goes to 39 degrees, verging on 40 in the summers. And, it has the water scarcity, and it's very cold in the winters, but it's not frost cold. So there's going to be some challenges. And I don't know what the birds in that area really do to grapes, but I do think it will be of a more savory character, perhaps due to the clay on the Pinot. And then I'm still going to. There is another area on the property that I guess would be perfect for Chardonnay. Because yeah, we would like a variation. I haven't dug into that, but it seems like it could be a plateau of a variation of soil there. So we'll have to check it out. I know we won't plant next to each other, the Pinot and the Chardonnay.
You won't. So you won't, even if you have intermittent soil types like clay here, limestone here.
That depends on the soil mapping. That is to be done soon, depending. That is to be done soon. That is to do with the soil mapping. So once we could do that, I mean, we know where the Pinot Noir must go. It's just we must figure out where the Chardonnay must go.
For sure. Yeah, Chardonnay is one of those things where, I mean, it's pretty malleable. It can take a wide variety of soil types and temperature ranges, but when you get it right, it's really, really, really fantastic and special.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So do you have, so you don't wish to work with any other varietals then moving forward? You want to keep it just to Chardonnay and Pinot Noir? There's not something you've tried along your career, you said, wow, this varietal is really good. I just wonder, because you enjoy that varietal so much.
My mind could change in the actually my mind could change in the next 7 years if the grape isn't of good quality. But you know, in my career I have tasted a Riesling that I loved. It was actually last year when we were traveling, but it was a Riesling that's produced by Jessica Sauls Wine.
Okay.
It's a chai Riesling, and I love the citrus on there and the zestiness. It's got a lot of secondary aromatics to it, and it's just a very nice complex wine for me. And I was thinking, goodness, you know, this Riesling, and I had a comment once, but you know, I don't even want to mention it, that you know, that my Chardonnay, you know, it's amphora aged, so it's not wooded, but they said it, you know, it tends in Germany they would think it's a Riesling and stuff. So I was thinking, you know, I don't really want that comparison, but that was something that interested me. It was something different. It was something different that I know, you know, I know Pinotage, Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir. It was something different. So, but no, I'm sticking to Pinot and Chardonnay until something happens. Hopefully not.
Yeah. I mean, you're clearly doing the Chardonnay and Pinot well, so that's good. Stick with those. But yeah, I'd be curious if you want to get out and try a different varietal.
Stick to the winning recipe.
Exactly. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yes.
So, do you have any like favorite food to enjoy with your wines? Like you might have had.
Yeah. So I'm not a big cook, but I had someone prepare for me seared tuna steak. That went well with my Chardonnay.
Sure.
The 2019, and me myself, I've had lamb chops actually with my Pinot.
Nice.
Yeah, and that was nice. You know, the lamb chops was fried, barbecued. I don't know what they called in English. I think barbecued.
Barbecue, yeah.
But yeah, that was very well with my Pinot Noir. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I have one bottle of the 2018 Pinot Noir in my cellar, and I thought about pulling it out today and enjoying it, but it's like, but I really, really want to save it, and I don't know if I can get any more. So I did the selfish thing, and I kept the wine in the cellar. So pardon me for not enjoying your bottle today, but I do believe that it's going to last quite some time, and it will drink even more beautifully in about 5 years. So
yeah, it's age worthy for up to 10 years. And sadly, I don't have any Pinot 18 left. I only kept back a small amount.
Wow.
30 bottles, so that must stay there.
For sure.
But
So,
I'm sure vineyard brands will have. And if you look to the back of me, Anthony, posed is my
there you
Chardonnay.
go. Nice.
Posed is my Chardonnay. But I'm
Yeah.
telling you, that's going straight back into stocks because I feel so guilty if I would
Right.
ever touch one of those. Yeah.
But that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like you're the queen. Like you've got it. Like you've got your brand. You've got your wine. Like you can choose what you do with it. And if you want to drink it, good on you. Like you can choose to do that. That's you've got the power now. That's how it works. So, is there possibly in like another wine region that you see potentially adding to the repertoire of your wines? Maybe that when you tried a wine from that region, it kind of captivated you and you wanted to, or at least planted the seed of the thought of maybe I could do this down the road once I'm a little more established.
Not really, no. But I can tell you that I have been tingled with the Swartland. You know, the old vines that's there and the
Yeah.
bush vines, and all of that. And I was thinking, you know, the Swartland is probably just as hot as Tesselaarsdal gets. So I was playing with that thing, you know, if ever something happens, something didn't work out, that isn't really the place, you know, for Pinot Chardonnay. One
Yeah.
throw in Cinzo in there and a bit of Pinotage. But
Yeah.
that was a thought.
For sure. That it's interesting thinking back to what two previous winemakers have said on previous IGTV chats. I'm thinking back to Eben Sadi and to Lewis Skinner. Lewis was basically saying if he could change one thing about his operation, it would be that his operation, his facility would be closer to the vineyard. He's on the east side of the Cascades. He has to literally cross a mountain range into the dry part of Washington State, traveling, you know, an hour or two to get to some of his vineyards.
Yes.
That for what you're trying to do with having your property plant your vineyard on your land, that is, I think, one of the greatest ways to be as holistic as possible, because you actually get to walk outside, see what your vines are doing, and you can make changes immediately, which made me think to what Eben Sadi said about if there was another place in the world where he could make wine, where would he make it? And he said, if you asked me in my 20s, it might have been in Burgundy. If you asked me in my 30s, it might have been in the Rhone. He says, but ultimately, what he said was one of the most prolific things that I've heard on one of these chats. And he said, I think you must make wine from where you're from. Make wine where you found out about the tooth fairy, about where you had, you know, your favorite childhood memories.
Yes.
All these things, because it's home. And
Yes.
it was very, very insightful. And I wasn't expecting that answer, but it caught me off guard. And it was really, really, really cool, really insightful.
Yeah,
So,
because it's what you know. Home is what you know. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, you can ask me anything from Tesselaarsdal. I can tell you. I don't know what the grapes will do, but I can tell you, you know, what's happening in the summers, what's happening in the winters.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, how much of a diurnal shift do you see per day in the summertime there?
A diurnal shift.
So the difference between the high of the day and the low of the day, the temperature wise. So.
Oh yeah, temperature at noon. It's your hottest. So I think from 11 o'clock in the morning until about 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's the hottest day. It only cools down then from that time.
Right. Yeah, but what would you say? There's a 7 degree change in temperature from the hottest point of the day to the coldest point of the day, which would be just before sunrise. So the hottest, most intense part of the day to the coldest part of the night.
Yeah.
Is there a significant range where it's like really, really hot and then it gets really, really cold? Or does it stay relatively constant, only dropping?
Well, if it's hot, it's still hot like into the evening. So it's hot today, and then at 5 o'clock it's very colder than it was in no, it stays relatively hot, warm, and then when the moon comes up, it's basically night temperature. Depends if it's summer or autumn. It depends.
For sure. For sure.
Like now in Tesselaarsdal, it's cold. Like yesterday, they had hail, basically.
Hail. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a very strange year for weather patterns. I've been watching. I mean, it's the middle of July.
Yeah.
In Napa right now, it is 78 degrees right now. The middle of July. It should be considerably warmer. It's just been a very, very strange weather pattern this year.
I don't know if the weather is now going with a pandemic or.
I don't know. Maybe it's Mother Nature or Mother Earth. Just
I don't know if the weather conspires
people not moving
now.
around and ships not moving around, airplanes not flying in the sky, traffic not on the highways. It's just people are at home, and now the planet is just kind of doing what it wants to do and
restores. Yeah.
Crazy times. So, where ultimately do you see your brand in 10 to 20 years time?
Yes, I definitely see my brand as wine of origin Tesselaarsdal Hills, and I do see it being produced from my property. By then, the cellar would also be in construction or already set, cellar and tasting room, and then the brand itself, the Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, definitely in more countries than it is right now. Tesselaarsdal is currently in 7 countries. And I hope to, I mean, there's so much countries, and I hope to grow nationally in South Africa, because I feel not enough people is drinking Tesselaarsdal in South Africa, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 33 private clients, the rest shop online, but it's not that I see in South Africa, it is really where it should be. So I really, 2021 is the year. I mean, I already started this year, but from a marketing point of view and getting it out there and having people recognize Tesselaarsdal would be the ultimate goal.
Awesome. So what was your 2020 vintage like? How many cases did you produce overall this year?
Yes. So for the Chardonnay, I doubled production.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, I doubled production. The Chardonnay, I can get enough grapes from the Yamlin Outer Reach from Babylon Vineyards. Not a problem. The Pinot Noir is the problem. I can only get five tons. So yeah, the production on the Pinot is about 600 cases, and the production on the Chardonnay is about 1,000.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And when you say cases in South Africa, that is 6 bottles, or is that 12 packs? Yeah.
6 bottle cases.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. It's confusing when I first went down there. Like, oh yeah, it's how many cases? Like, wow. So you actually have a pretty sizable production. It's like, no, it's 6 pack. It's like, oh, so it's actually half. Because here in the States, like, oh, it's a case. It's 12 bottles. And
I forgot in the States.
No, it's all right. No, there's a lot of things I think that should be looked at being changed in the States. I think the metric system makes a lot of sense, and I don't know why we still use inches and feet and miles, and the metric system is so easy. It's a power of 10. It's like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because when you said earlier 78 degrees, I'm thinking, what?
Because
because 39 is like the hottest ever.
Yeah.
So 78 is somewhere in hell.
Right. Yeah. I'm from Arizona, and I was there the hottest day on record when it reached 122, which is about 50 Celsius. And when I tell my European friends, like, yeah, it was 122, they can't fathom that. And like, oh, and so like, it's 50 degrees. And they're like, wow.
Crazy.
Awesome. So do you expect to increase your brands over time? Where do you hope to be? I mean, you're currently at about 1,300 6-pack cases. Would you like to be around 2,000, 5,000, or you want to keep it still at that? I mean, you're ultimately going to increase production by planting your property.
Yeah, well, the plan on that actually is so I've actually got a crazy development plan and a crazy business plan. Okay, so so on the 2021, I'm actually not looking to double the Chardonnay again, so probably not going to increase. You know, my marketing plan with not going to Provan in that. Curbed me a bit because I was thinking, you know, now I've doubled the production. I was hoping to open this and this market, and you know, there was ultimately issues there. But the Pinot Noir is fine. I'll keep the 5 ton contract because the site where I get that grapes from worked well.
Yeah.
So the Pinot it will remain 5 tons, and then from my property I will probably also get about 5 tons. I don't know what the yield will do 5, 6 tons I'll get off there. And then ultimately, as the monies come in and whatnot, I'll plant some more Pinot Noir. So it will be in the end about at the most a 40-ton cellar, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that will be like the max production.
Cool. So
Yeah.
currently everything is being made at Hamilton Russell. Is that correct?
At them, yes.
Yeah. Are there plans then for the future to produce like make a production facility on your property?
Yes. The plan is it's for the moment it's a 5-year plan. Yeah, so it will be a tasting room and a cellar and a little storage area all in one
Nice.
building. And then also I will stay there. My residential house will also be on that property. So that is the thing. It's a two hectare thing going, and then the building of the cellar and getting the water registrations and power supply on. So that's the 5-year plan. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Definitely a cellar there. Emil will still be involved. He will still be involved, and yeah, we'll juggle it like that. Yeah.
Awesome. So
Yeah,
there's currently
luckily I've got the experts on my team, man.
it's good to surround yourself with smart people and
Yes.
people who you want. It's good to choose your friends and people who you want to be like. That's ultimately why I moved to the Bay Area from Phoenix.
Yes.
I realized that if I wanted to challenge myself, I needed to be in the Bay Area of California to surround myself with the hearts of American wine culture and the largest uh, grouping of sommeliers on the planet.
Oh,
And yeah,
yeah.
there's more master sommeliers in the entirety of the Bay Area than anywhere else. People think, oh, it's New York, and New York's close, but you know the Bay Area, it's a big area. But food, wine, really the heartbeat of American wine culture is really here.
Yeah.
And the great thing about the west coast of America is the entire seaboard, um, Oregon, California, and Washington making some serious top-notch wines. So it's good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It helps.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, there are days I wish I was a little closer to Washington to make tastings easier, and there are days I wish that South Africa wasn't so far away, because there's no easy way to get there. It's just it's a 12-hour flight from California to somewhere in Europe, and then about a 12 to 13-hour flight down to South Africa. So it's literally an
True.
all-day traveling. Yeah.
And I'm going to be biased. South Africa is the best country, Anthony, with or without liquor bans.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. There's, I think ultimately one of its greatest hurdles for really one of the greatest hurdles for all of Southern Hemisphere wine producing regions is ultimately getting the wine to the Northern Hemisphere, where the large vast majority of wine drinkers exist. Um, and you know, that's not to say that there's anything bad about them. It's just it's a different region, and if you look at Northern Hemisphere versus Southern Hemisphere, there's more people in the Northern Hemisphere, so naturally there's going to be more wine drinkers in the Northern Hemisphere. So
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
yeah. I mean there's so much potential. I've said this a few times on these IG chats that South Africa currently is at the best quality that it's ever been as far as wine quality.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's only getting better.
Yes.
But my deduction was at the very end of my last report was, even though it's still at its best quality it's ever been, the quality overall still has to come up, which means the price has to come up, because you cannot facilitate a wine industry where the vast majority of bottles sell for about 45 rand, which is about $3 American.
Yes.
So with that, the farmers need to get paid, the brands need to get paid.
Oh my goodness, we can start now everywhere. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's
But,
if you're not in the business for making money, I can tell you that.
well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like that old saying. It's like, do you know how to make a small fortune in the wine business? Start with a large fortune. That's how you make a small fortune in the wine business.
No, that is the absolute truth.
It is.
No,
it really is.
You must be in it for the love of the game. If you're not, then you are in the wrong business.
Exactly. Yeah, that, and the great thing about the wine business is that working with grapes and making wine, nothing happens quickly. No matter what you do, like, you could take some of the greatest winemakers on the planet, and if you think about it, they'll have 40 chances to make a wine before they retire or so. It's like, if you're learning how to drive stick shift, like in a Jeep or a car for an automatic, the first 20 times trying to get out of park and into first, you'll probably end up stalling. And by the time you finally are getting into like second gear and third gear and you're able to like drive on the street, it's been about 30 or 40 times. In context of a winemaker, 30 or 40 chances, that means 30 or 40 vintages, which means 30 or 40 years if you're in just one spot. So it's always a continuous loop that you're always finding and refining what you're doing, making something better. And it's ultimately, you're moving the goal 1 inch closer every single year. And by the time you finally understand what's happening on your property in the vineyard with the grapes, it's time to retire. And then you try and hopefully you can pass down that information to the next person, the next person who's making the wine, or your son if he gets in the winemaking business and takes over the brand.
Correct.
Yeah.
I won't lie there. I must tell you this quickly. When we were getting together everything in 2014 for Tesselaarsdal. I was registering the business. I was looking for wine contracts. I was struggling or trying to apply for a liquor license and all that. And all I was thinking was, it must now just be February for us to get the grapes so that the wine can be made. And so when that adrenaline took over and we went out and picked and got just about a ton for the first vintage, brought it back to the cellar, in that week there was wine. And all I could think was, darn, now that goes into barrels, man, for a year.
Right.
Exactly. I wanted the wine.
You want it now,
like immediately, but you have to wait a year. So I had to release in 2016, but my business was already born, at the end of 2014.
Yeah.
And it was just, as you said, you have to be patient.
Yes.
And I can understand the value of family vineyards. I can understand the value of family wines and the story behind it, etc. Because here now I'm going to say, the woman of color, building this legacy for my children, my two sons. And it's absolutely the best feeling ever. It's a feeling of pride. It's a sense of creating something beautiful. And it's just awesome.
For sure. It's great. I love your enthusiasm about your brand, your wine, and I for your family's sake, I really do hope that your sons get bitten by the wine bug and they want to take over and pick up the flag, and they continue to wave it until they pass it down to their family and their children and so on. So I hope that works out.
I do.
What advice would you give young Black wine professionals of tomorrow, since you are a talented, young, successful Black woman who's a business owner and owns her own land and property and business?
Yeah. Never subject quality for quantity. I think that would be the the most valuable advice I would give someone, because that advice was given to me. You know, don't hunt the quantity. You know, don't produce 20,000 cases of wine, but it's not a good quality wine, and then it basically hurts the wine industry. And be passionate about what you do. And a crucial piece of advice also would be work every department, be involved in every step of your business or of the wine industry or whatever route that you follow. Whether you be the winemaker, it doesn't matter. If you haven't worked all the departments, the in-depth, I think, thinking and appreciation and getting your mind around it isn't really there. I mean, I've been in the business now for, what is that, 20 years. And only a few years back started Tesselaarsdal Wines with a great opportunity, you know, that Anthony gave the startup cost for this for this business. And Anthony, this is a dream of mine. My first dream was getting the property. Now I got the property, it must be developed,
Sure.
but when I am in a position to do so, I would like to give an opportunity to someone that was given to me. But also recognizing the goal, the desire, the passion, the attitude. Yeah, my advice would be go for quality, be passionate, and get involved, be involved in the business.
Awesome. It's good to be curious as well. It's exactly
You've
what
got
you're
to be.
You've got
I
to be
mean,
curious.
look at my curiosity. I just wanted to know, hey, why do people pay so much, man?
It all starts somewhere.
Gotta start somewhere.
Exactly. So I know it's getting late. I won't keep it for much longer. It's close to just before 11 p.m. your time. Do you have any last words or parting thoughts for us?
I do. I actually do. I would like to say, you know, Tesselaarsdal it's not just a brand. It's my livelihood. It's my pride. It's my baby. It's my legacy. And it's my family's legacy. It's going to be passed on to my children. It's something that I'm extremely proud of. So if you hold a bottle, if you ever see the label, or you have a bottle in your hand, you must know that, you know, personally, every blood, sweat, and tears went into that bottle. My label, if ever you see it, I'll quickly show it.
Please.
It has everything of Tesselaarsdal in it, from the church that was first built there, Anglican church, to the actual mountain range. That's the Klein River mountains there, actual aloes. Everything there's actual oak tree. The only thing that wasn't there was these guys. I had them drawn in. But if you have a bottle closely to you, you won't see it now. There's two small figures walking over the mountain on that trail.
Ah.
That is my mother and grandmother. They used to walk that trail every Sunday for an hour to Stanford to trade the livestock, the goats. My mother used to tell me that all the time when I was small. It just stuck to me. And then my grandma, she used to drink a lot. So when they walked back, they walked about 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
And then they needed to rest like on a big flat rock on top of the mountain, which the community called the Rus Klip. So it was a place where they rested and played dominoes to like sober up and pass the time out. And that I inserted into my packaging. And
it's on the top label with the vintage, yes? The goat?
Yeah, this is our family crest now. So now we are crested. Yeah, and I've inserted the national bird of South Africa, which is the blue crane. So it's baby blue crane heads that went into, which is now my crest. My surname is Sauls, so now we've got a Sauls crest. And, you know, every bottle is sealed with beeswax, which I and two assistants personally wax like the whole day. So it's just a bottle with so much gone into, you know, that, yeah.
History, love, passion, drive. Love it. It's the whole package.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day. I'll let you get to bed. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, and we wish you the best of luck.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Awesome. Well, until next week, we have Samantha O'Keefe joining us, keeping the spotlight on lady female winemakers from South Africa. So be sure to check that out next week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. California time. Until then, stay safe, drink well, and be kind to others.
Bye.
Bye-bye.